Welcome. My name is Jim Sanders. I'm a board member of WAVE. Happy that you all came. Uh, this is a session about WISE Connect. So the purpose of this session is to do a kind of an orientation, explanation of the WISE program, and then do a live demonstration about what the program is. The background is that we have the two co-founders here, um, Marie Brodsky and Kit Close. Um, and the program is 5 years old, is active in villages and in community groups. The vision is empowering healthy and fulfilling independence of living. So the idea is more than a resource inventory. The goal is to build skills and capability in the community about fulfilling living, which is clearly something close to the village idea. So, and the backstory is interesting. So, as I understand, what Marie talked about is that Marie was involved with her grandfather's isolation during the pandemic. And out of that experience, she said, wow, there must be a better way. Um, uh, and she had the insight to say, well, um, I have knowledge about
Excuse me, something just came on the screen. Okay. So, um, no, I ducked out of it and it,
Okay, can we close the mic for someone's coming into the meeting? Okay, I'm going to continue with the introduction. So anyway, so the backstory is that Marie, out of her own personal experience, said there must be a better way, and uh, and that's really how uh, Wise Connect got started. So we'll hear more about it as she shares the background of the company and its purpose, and then we see the demo. So can we go forward? So I'm seeing a screen that says Martha Williams. Are there others that can see the larger group?
Yeah, we can see the larger group.
Okay, good. Okay, so I guess the next part of our presentation would be for Marie to introduce herself and kind of talk about the history of Wise Connect and kind of orient people.
Yes, well, thank you so much, Jim, and thank you to Wave for introducing us and for inviting us to do this session. I'm Marie, and you can see the other person with the same background as me is Kat. You can find her on the screen. So how we'll split this up is that I'll talk about some background about where this came from, what kind of work we do, why we're excited to share it with you now. And then afterwards, Kat is going to give us a live tour of how this works. And I'll pass it over to her in the second half. And you're welcome at any time to put questions, thoughts in the chat. You'll see that I'll actually push you to do so at some points of the presentation. But I'm looking forward to getting to know everyone. I will try sharing my screen. Hopefully it works. Let me know. Let me see if I can hide this.
Yeah, Marie, we can see it.
Okay, amazing. Okay. So our company is called Wise Cities, and as Jim said, it's something that we started several years ago out of personal experiences. And I'll talk more about the beginnings and what we imagined and how that has evolved. And what you should know is that our entire goal revolves around creating a world for living well all lifelong. Before we get too deep into things, I would very much like to know who is in the room today. So if you could put in the chat your name and then tell us about what brought you here. So are you a village leader? Are you a village member? What exactly are you excited to learn about? That'll help me throughout the presentation. So I want to hear from some of you.
So it looks like we have a village member so far from East Rockville.
I should just buy my own. I should just buy my own. I should just make my saying. I'm just gonna make.
They're at Rutgers School of Social Work and Hub for Aging Collaboration,
Awesome. Neighbors helping neighbors.
King Farm Village, Palisades Village, Village Support Network, Kensington Village, former caregiver for parents who aged in place, Suburban Hospital. Oh my gosh. This is amazing. Chair of Coastal Village Volunteers, Northwest Neighbors Connects. Okay, so what I'm seeing is not only do we have village leaders and village members, but we also have people from the health and medical space, and then we have people who themselves are volunteers and caregivers and researchers. And it is incredible to see everyone coming together. So thank you for these introductions. Feel free to keep them coming. In the meantime, I will go a little bit deeper into how Wise Cities got started and the perspective that we're coming from. So this is my grandfather, and as Jim mentioned, during COVID, he moved in with my family, and I started to see the extent to which he was affected by social isolation, how that was an experience that defined his day to day. And that was for a mix of reasons. And that mix of reasons included the barrier of technology and understanding where to search for things and how to search for things and how to navigate the fragmented network of information about what's out there. And it was also the fact that the information about different resources was sprinkled in very, very different places that required a big search to find. And for him, the other barriers included that he no longer drove, and so transportation was something that needed to be figured out, and that he didn't speak English. And so the language barrier was there too. And so for me, the question was, okay, how can our communities do a better job of engaging, supporting, including people who are aging in their homes and who might have this set of barriers or another set of barriers that they're facing that might prevent them from staying socially active and connected, which we now know from all the research that's been done is very deeply linked to health. And so that turned into a multi-part effort that I will go into now. And I was very lucky to meet my co-founder, Kat, very early on in the process. And we've been building this ever since together. So our mission is to empower healthy, fulfilling, and independent living. And for us, what that meant was we need to, A, make sure that there are plenty of opportunities for people to participate in the community, regardless of what set of barriers they're facing. And B, it needs to be easy for people to find out about those opportunities as well as other resources that exist in the community to stay healthy and active. And so we decided we're going to pursue both of those things, both making sure there's plenty out there and making sure that it's easy for people to find out about. So I'll talk briefly about number one. It's not the focus of today. The focus of today is the solution we've built to help people discover what's around them. But to create more resources, what we've been doing is we've been partnering with all kinds of local businesses. So think about cafes, restaurants, yoga studios, pickleball centers, art galleries, music centers, anything that you can imagine that has a space where people can come in and gather, and that at certain times of the week, maybe, Tuesday at 11 a.m., doesn't have many people there. So it's actually a perfect spot to have an activity. And we've been doing all kinds of sessions helping these local businesses as well as local nonprofits start up their first programs that are designed for older adults and actively welcome in older adults from the community. And then part two is this access to resources, making sure it's super easy to discover those activities and others. I just want to point out before we go further that just looking at Wave's mission, talking about villages embodying the concept of thriving at home and in the community, we align so well, and we hope to be able to work with villages, continue to work with villages into the future. And when we started this out, we started with you. So what we did was hundreds of interviews with older adults, family members, nonprofits, government agencies, anyone you can think of who could give us some insight on how we could best design our solution. And that included, I put 10 plus here. I think it was much more than 10. I think Kat would agree with me. The number of village leaders that we spoke with, in addition to village members and volunteers, we ourselves volunteered for villages as well. We really took part in trying to understand what can we do that would support this community the best and help the village efforts grow. And so over the past several years, we started out with very initial ideas of what we think this might look like, and then iterating and iterating and iterating with input from everyone to get to the point that we're at now. So what everyone is excited to be here for is understanding what it is that Wise Connect does. So Wise Connect is the website that we've developed to make it easy to find what's around you. And so let me just talk about some of the important points that you should know. First of all, it's completely free. It doesn't require downloading anything, whether you're using it on your computer, your iPad, your phone, no download required. There's no account creation required, so you can just enter and immediately find what you need. You can, in addition to finding services and searching, you can compare several. That's something that's coming soon. It's not quite ready yet. And access vetted resources. So access means you can learn about it in your language. You can find out about whether there's a ride that can get you there directly if that's something that you need, right? Not just finding out that the resource exists. We've also worked very hard to make sure that it's secure, it's private, we don't sell any data, right? Making sure that people are comfortable using it. And the types of information that are found on there range from activities, so that can be social activities or fitness classes and more. It's services, so that could be care at home, it could be small things, that could support you or a loved one or a friend. It's discounts to various local venues, and it's information that includes educational guides. So if you're working through a new situation or you've just gone through a transition and you're trying to learn more, it's a place you can find information from vetted organizations as well. All revolves around healthy aging in place and staying social and active. Before we go further, I want to hear from you again. In a perfect world, what are some of the resources or activities or opportunities that you would like there to be more of, or that you would like it to be easier to find out about? What kinds of things come to mind? And if you're a village leader, can you share some of the things that you hear from your members and your volunteers too? So I'll just give a couple minutes for people to put their answers in the chat, and you're also welcome to speak up if you'd like.
Transportation, yeah, that's one that we've heard quite a lot. And as Marie mentioned, that's one of the reasons why we're building the Request a Ride feature, which will be coming out this year. So excited about that, because we know it's so needed. Same with making new friends. Marie just got back yesterday from one of our activities out in the community. We had a very fun social time with everyone, so definitely something that's needed. So we're seeing housekeeping, more places to meet people to do things with, friendly visits, social connection. Oh, a museum club. That's fun.
Very cool. You know, one thing that we've seen is that the question of accessing resources and the question of social connection are very closely linked, because when people stop being socially connected and become isolated, then they also lose the number one way to find out about the resources that might be available because the word of mouth is gone. And word of mouth is such an important way that people find out about things. And so when we bring people together through the social opportunities, we end up also seeing that people become more informed about resources that exist. So I think it's important to have both and connected. And yes, seeing more transportation, more social connectedness, home repairs as well. Yeah. To the person who said local performances, we actually just sent out a newsletter to some of our community members with a bunch of free performances happening in the area. We knew that people were excited about that. Yes, guidance on healthcare insurance and other health topics, I think, comes up a lot. You're welcome to keep sending some of these in. And thanks for sharing these. One last thing that I want to highlight before I pass it on to Kat is that the system that we've created, this is of interest to you organizers and village leaders in the room. There is another side to this website that's built for village organizers, leaders, other community providers to be able to share what you do. So it's a way to get a broader audience, to get more people to find out what villages are, what villages do, how can they benefit, what the eligibility criteria are. And it's totally free for nonprofits to use. As I said, we really want to make it easier for you to do what you do and get the word out there. And we've put a lot of time into the technical side to make sure that it's not a lot of extra manual work for you. So you don't have to write up all the events from scratch. You don't have to duplicate the efforts you're doing anywhere else. You can just upload a PDF or a copy of something that you've already created, and the system will take care of making sure that that gets listed as individual events. I know that some of you have activities that are open to only members, and some have activities that are open to members and the public. You can easily mark an event as being one that you would welcome public individuals into and members of your group, maybe as a way to entice people, right? This is members only, but come find out about what it means to be a member. So this side exists as well, and we're happy to go more into it if it's of interest to anyone. With that, I'm going to hand it over to Kat to show you how this works. And if anyone has questions that you want to send in the chat that you want either of us to address during that demo, please feel free.
Yeah, I'm going to take over screen share, but definitely still send your questions in. And if there are a few questions popping up before I move into giving the tour, it's a good kind of transition period for us to answer. So, okay, how are vendors and classes vetted, and how often are they vetted? Fantastic question. So during the onboarding process where we add new vendors, or when new vendors sign up to join this website, they are required to submit certain business documents. These business documents include their government issued right to do business, which means they are a legally recognized organization, insurance policies, their volunteer vetting sheets that they have people fill out so that we know how they're vetting their own providers. We often ask for a couple references that they are willing to provide. So it's just a series of information that they upload during onboarding, and then we review that. And then after 2 weeks, if they pass the review, they are able to join the platform. So we have a more extensive review process for those that are interested. That'll give them a little WISE badge on their profile. And that's coming out soon to indicate, okay, these are the people who've like done all the 5 yards. But there is that minimum level of verification that people need to go through before they are listed on this platform. In terms of how often they are vetted, They have to go through the verification process at the beginning when they are onboarding, but we also have a community reporting feature. So if a user has a questionable experience with a particular provider, they can immediately send in a report to us, and we will go through the process again to see if things have changed. And there are also automated reminders in terms of keeping information up to date and status up to date so that, let's say a business no longer exists, it's no longer going to be visible. I hope that answers your question, but we do take vetting very seriously, and we're constantly thinking about ways that we can make that process more robust and more streamlined, so we can keep the quality of the database high. Okay, well, if anyone has any more questions, we can circle back at the end of the demo. Marie, are you, I can see your face. Can you see the platform?
Yeah.
Awesome, lovely. Just want to make sure. Okay, so I'd like you all to meet Wise Connect. This is the website that we've been working on for, as Marie and Jim said, the past 4 years. It's been definitely an effort of love within the community. We have just been the people putting the odds and ends together, but really all aspects of it have been inspired by requests and feedback from community members like yourself. Everything from the colors that we use, to the name of the platform, to where everything is located. That's something that we put first and foremost, was making sure that we were listening and actually doing things in the way that makes sense. So when a person comes to the website for the first time, this is what they see. They have a nice little greeting. And the first thing I want to point out is that there are multiple ways for you to use this website. It's not you must do it this way. It's a kind of one size fits all type thing, and it can customize to how you find it most easy to find information. So those of you who like to use search engines a lot, you'll likely move up here to the search bar, and you can like type to search for things. You can customize your location. Right now I have it set to Fairfax. You can use these wonderful filters. But if you don't exactly have something off the top of your mind that you're looking for, let's say you just want to go out and do something today. You don't exactly know what, you just want to see what's happening around you. These boxes down here will take you to what we call our explore pages. And that's where you can kind of see everything that's happening in your area, explore, and potentially find things that you're interested in. So I'll kind of walk you through each one by one. Let's start with, okay, I know exactly what I'm looking for. I know a bunch of you mentioned transportation. So the first thing that you would do is you would come up here and you would make sure your location is set to where you are. You would type in transportation, and it'll start populating with resources down here. It'll also auto recommend you listings or searches that you might be looking for based on what you're typing in. I just want basic transportation, and I only want to see services because I want to get somewhere. I don't want to necessarily learn more about the organizations. I just want to order something right now. So I'm going to open up the filters, and I'm just going to tick the service filter. And when I apply that, I will only see services for what I am looking for. And so you'll see there are a bunch of different transportation options that are in my area that I could then go and look more into. So for example, if I'm interested in escorted transportation, I could click to view details, and it'll tell me everything about this service. It'll give me the contact information right up at the top, the link to the website. It'll tell me the contact information down below, the eligibility requirements. And if the listing has not been reviewed within a month, it'll give you a little banner saying, hey, just before you order this, make sure you check with the organization to make sure everything is up to date. And this is how every single page looks. You're never going to be in a situation where this page looks different from this page for no good reason. It's all going to be standardized to make it very easy for you to find what you're looking for. So that's one way you can find information. Another way you can find information, if I go back to the home page, is by exploring down here. So let's say I'm looking for something to do. I probably don't exactly know what I want to do. I just want to get out of the house. So I'm just going to go ahead and click Explore Activities. And it'll show me all of the activities happening at the community-based organizations in my area, ordered by, when it's happening. And I can just peruse through it, right? So there are 243 activities happening in the Fairfax, Virginia area. Right now, I can filter by cost. I can filter by how far away it is. I can filter by the topic that it's related to, the format. Is it in person? Is it online? And I can also sort by things like date or by distance as well. Now, one of the things that you'll see here is resources will be ordered in a different order every time that you come back. This is to help you learn things. If we showed you the same resources in the same order every single time, you probably wouldn't find anything new. So every time you close the website and then come back, if you're on an Explore page, we will show you new things happening in your area. And then if you want it filtered by date or by distance, you can always use the sort. So that's another thing, a way that you can find information. And then the last way is if you're more of a visual person and you like seeing what's around you on a map, you can just go up here and click Map View. And what that'll do is give us it a second to load. It'll show you all the things happening in your area on a map. So we have tons and tons and tons of different activities, organizations, and services offered in the Washington, D.C., Northern Virginia, Southern Maryland area, right, in the DMV. All of these are color coded. So if you see something gray, it's always going to be an organization office. If you see something orange, it's always going to be a service. And if you see something yellow, it's always going to be an activity. And so this just helps you find things that are closer to you on a map. And you can, again, sort by how far away things want to be. You can zoom in, you can zoom out. And if you find something that you're interested in, let's say I click on this, it'll automatically scroll me to that particular activity on the left-hand side so that you can get more information about it right from the map. So this is a very quick introduction to Wise Connect, which is our way to help you find information and resources in your area. Before we open it up to questions, I do want to kind of share some sneak peeks of what's coming soon. So like we talked about earlier, the Request a Ride feature is something that we're very much looking forward to and should be available by the end of this year. Essentially, what that will be is if you find a service or an activity that you find interesting and you want to go to, there'll be a little button at the top of that page that says Request a Ride. And if you click Request a Ride, it'll have the location you want to go to already pre-filled. All you need to do is fill in where you're coming from, and then you can select from different ride options how you want to get there. And once you make a selection, you can handle, paying for the ride and getting to where, all the ride process is handled directly through the platform. And you can do that on a desktop, or you could do that on your mobile device. It's all super easy. And so that will help people get to where they need to be a little bit easier and create a very streamlined way of actually accessing your resources. Some other things that are coming soon are translations. Currently, if you have your browser set to a different language, our website will translate, but we do want to give people the ability to select their language. So in the next couple of months, this will be auto-translatable into pretty much 80 plus languages, and you'll be able to search for activities and services based on what languages they support as well, which is something that we're very excited about. I'm trying to think of other things.
Kat, one thing that I'll add is that this opportunity section, we didn't dive into it too much, but this purple category is specifically focused on volunteer opportunities and job opportunities. And I know that's relevant to many of you villages who are looking for new volunteers, we see people using this website to find volunteer opportunities when they're at home and they're looking for something to do. And so we really recommend that you use this, if nothing else, as a way to share that you're looking for volunteers, and give people an easy way to learn about what that volunteer opportunity is all about and how they can apply.
Yeah, and going off of that, I think this is a very good time to show an example if you are an organization, and this is a good example. This is what your page would look like. You would have your logo up at the top. Your contact information would be right here. If I wanted to call you, I would just click this button and it would give me your number. If I wanted to email you, I would click this button and it actually gives me the ability to auto draft an email to you. So I don't even need to copy and paste your email over. It'll just automatically open it up and send you the email. It'll give a description about who you are, what you do, your contact information, and it'll show all of your services right here in one place and all of the opportunities or activities that you have in one place to make it very easy for people to navigate your services, find out about what you do, and get in contact with you if they have any specific questions. All right, so I see a bunch of things in the chat, so I'm going to go ahead and open that up.
I can start responding for now while you're opening that. So the first question I see is, when does the site launch? The answer is, it's live, it is available. I put the link into the chat, so you're welcome to open it up and play with it, see what you can find, search up the kinds of things that you were discussing earlier. And I'll respond next to question 3, which is the geographic coverage. So currently, the resources and the activities are concentrated in the Fairfax area, which was our initial starting point. We first launched in a partnership with the city of Fairfax, and that's where we started both the activity side, so working with local businesses to start up their activities, and it's where we started building out this resource database that has now expanded more broadly across Northern Virginia. And we just started 2 new partnerships, bringing this into the College Park region in Maryland, as well as throughout Montgomery County. So in the coming months, you're going to see much more in Maryland than we previously have had. Hopefully that addresses the question. So for now, Northern Virginia, but quickly expanding in the Maryland direction. And would love to work with all of you in Maryland to make that happen quicker. Then the other question was, how is the organization financed? Which is a great question because we've been talking about how it's free for older adults and community members and nonprofits, and it really is our priority to keep it free and to keep reducing the barriers. So for now, we've been financed through 2 methods. It's a combination, and we expect that it will continue to be a combination into the future because this is a complex ecosystem that we're working in, and we need to, be thoughtful about who we're working with. So for now, it has been both government and business. So on the government side, we have worked with multiple city governments, and we're now looking into working with some county and state level governments to expand this further. And then we have also given businesses that offer valuable services the opportunity to get listed here as well, assuming that they go through a rigorous vetting process that Kat discussed earlier. So we have the government partnerships and we have the vetted business signups so people can find their resources. So just to give an example of what those businesses could be, there's, for example, physical therapy services, there is home care, there is transportation services that maybe accommodate specific needs. One thing that we know many people need is home accessibility modifications, so installing a grab bar, things like that. So businesses that offer those kinds of services can choose to be listed on here. Addressing the next few questions, granularity of community versus a county. I believe that what you're asking is in terms of the region for which results will be shown, like whether you'll only be shown things, walking distance from you in your neighborhood versus across the whole county. And the answer is that you can decide that. So I think earlier on, Kat was showing that once the results appear, you can choose to narrow down to only show things within, for example, 5 miles of you. By default, it'll show you a pretty broad range, so you can get a sense of what's out there. But again, you can always narrow it down closer to where you are. And we also don't require you to put in your exact location. So the site doesn't need your exact location. You can choose to just put in a city and it'll approximately give you what's around there. Do we cover DC? We are working on it, and hopefully in the near future, the answer will be yes. And we've started building some relationships with the local organizations so that when we do launch in DC, we have some channels to get the word out and to build awareness. Question about the cost. For villages or other nonprofits, the cost is 0 for villages and nonprofits. We really want this to be a tool that can help you grow the village, build awareness around the village, gain volunteers, and we don't charge anything for that. I think you mentioned information sharing on the process of setting up a village. Is that correct? And if so, where can I find that? If you are referring to building out your profile where people can see the activities and services that you offer, for now, the easiest way is really to get in touch with Kat or I directly, and we'll get that set up for you. Right now, we're transitioning into a system that will be more directly a way that you can sign up and then go through the vetting. But since you have access to us here right away, we encourage you to just email us and we'll go through the process of setting that up. And let me just add, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Marie. Marie, you can
Okay.
finish what you're saying.
I was just going to say that in terms of that page setup, the easiest step is publishing the information about your organization as a whole, and then the details about what upcoming events you are, if you have educational sessions or things like that, we can upload a PDF that you already have about it. If you already have it listed on your website, we can pull it from your website. You don't need to do any extra work for that. And then this question, is your website interlinked with ours? We do put a link to your website onto your profile page. And the main goal of that is so that if people are exploring Wise Connect, they stumble upon your page. Maybe it's because of the social program you offer or the transportation service you offer. And they come across your page and they want to learn more. They have 2 buttons. They can either call you directly or they can open up your website to learn more. Let me know if I answered that question or if you were referring to something else.
Yeah, one of the things that I want to say, referencing what Marie said, is we're trying to make this as easy to maintain as possible. So if you already have created flyers, created PDFs, have your own website where your information is located, or have an event calendar, you can just upload those things to our website and it'll auto-generate drafts of all the pages you should publish for you to review. That's something that we're very excited about because it reduces how much time you need to spend actually getting things set up, and makes the process a lot more streamlined. Any other questions? Sorry, I dropped out there for a second. My internet decided to cut out. But any other questions about Wise Connect?
Can I ask a question?
Mm-hmm.
You had mentioned that you don't have to log in to use the website. But I did see there is an option to log in. Is that correct?
So yes.
I'm just
So
wondering what are the benefits of creating a profile and are you able to save things? Like, can you favorite things and things like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Happy to talk about that. So, if you are, one thing I would like to clarify, if you are an organization or a village organizer and you want to get your information on Wise Connect, you will need to create an account because you will need to manage your information and you likely want access to everything. So, for organizers and for providers, there is an account that is required. And that also helps us with the verification process. For everyday users, the people coming to the site to look for things, accounts are optional. You do not need an account to look for information, to search for information, to contact providers, or to do any of the like base usage or functionality that the website offers. But if you do create an account, you get additional convenience features. For example, you can save resources and it'll put it in a saved list for you. And whenever those resources are updated, let's say the price changes or the eligibility requirements change, you will receive a notification on your account and in your email letting you know, hey, this thing that you were interested in, its information has changed. Here is what has changed so that you can stay up to date on the offerings that you are interested in and whether, information has adjusted for them. You will also have the ability to RSVP for activities. You can RSVP for activities already, but if you have an account, your RSVP'd events will all save in one location, so you can see all of them, and you will receive real-time reminders. Hey, this is happening in 30 minutes. Hey, this is happening later today at 10 o'clock a.m. Hey, this is happening this week on Thursday at 10 o'clock a.m., right? That'll help you stay on track with the things that you want to attend. And there will be more features coming later on. That'll also make the process easier. Things like a daily planner that you can add things to, or the ability to like link your account with somebody so they can see what you're working on or what you're going to be going to, and the ability to friend another person who might have gone to the same event that you did. So there's a lot that's coming with that in the future. We are planning on releasing the first version of accounts in September, late September of this year, and that'll include the saved resources lists and the real-time notifications based on like popular requests. So that is something that is available but not required. I see a
Dawn, you
lot.
can go ahead. Go
Yeah.
ahead. Here.
I'm sorry. The first thing I did when I went to the website was look for where you sign up, and I don't see it. It's not in the menu. It's
Yeah, so we don't have user accounts right now, so you don't need to sign up to anything.
now, I know you don't need to, but it's something you'll offer in the future.
Yes, it is something we'll offer in the future. You should see a sign up button by the end of September, just about. And that's when like the ability to create an account will be available.
Gotcha. Thank you.
And speaking of that, if any of you want updates on when things are coming out, please get in contact with Marie and I. We would love to keep you in the loop about new things and also to get your feedback on new things that we're going to be releasing soon. Like I said, this is an effort of love with the community. And it's very much still a living document or a living project, right? We make changes to it based on popular request. We accept a lot of feedback and we listen to all the feedback that we get. Marie and I will drop our emails in the chat, I think. And if you want to get in touch with us, feel free to reach out to us. Even if you have ideas on things that we could add or suggestions, we always love to hear those things. And we do take them to heart.
Yeah, and just to address a couple other questions, Kat, while you were showing some more of the platform, One question that came up that I know you'll love is, have you tested the site visuals with elders? The answer is yes, yes, and yes. We started out, even the first designs were ones that were informed by, sitting down with a bunch of people with potentially different impairments or challenges, whether those are visual or auditory or fine motor or other, making sure that it's really convenient for people to learn, that there's consistency in it, and again, really trying to make sure that we reduce the technology barrier for it. And we're working on adding more things that will continue to make it easier. For example, having a voice component where it can speak out loud what's found on the page, and having reminders for people for what they were looking for last time, and really just trying to make it adjust to different circumstances. Then there's a question here about counties that we're working with. So far, we're working with the city of Fairfax, the city of College Park, and then the Montgomery County Villages Consortium. And we are starting up new partnerships soon, which we hope to announce to everyone as soon as they're finalized. And hopefully DC will be one of those. And
In terms of the health information and access to healthcare, we do have sections for health on our website. If you go, you can filter, it's one of our topics down at the bottom, medical. You can filter for medical resources. You can also filter for wellness resources. And if you, in the case of an emergency, there's also care and emergency services as well. So yes, there will be health resources on this. We are, as Marie said, still adding a lot of content right now. So there might be certain topics that have less content as we bring more and more organizations on in the local community. And one very important thing I think to highlight is our partnerships don't dictate where we add information necessarily. So if you are a village in DC and you want your information on our platform, or you're a village organizer in Northern Maryland or Southern Virginia and you want your information on our platform or on Wise Connect, let us know. We will put you on there. And we are currently doing outreach throughout Maryland, DC, and Virginia already. So really there's no like you have to wait until later to do that. We'd love to hear from you, and we'd love to have the ability to share your resources as soon as possible with members of your community.
yeah, then just to add something to the health question, I think that is a space where we're trying to be even more careful and have the threshold for, what we're putting on there yet, what we feel comfortable vetting at this point, to be even higher, because it is such a, high risk and high importance space. And so I think that it's something that is important for us to include more of in the future, but it's something that we hesitate to start adding right away, just due to how impactful of a topic that is and how careful we need to be. We
And then-
definitely have done health education sessions and making sure that people have access to informational content on that already.
And then the last question, how do you keep your content up to date? This is something that I'm very excited about because it's really something kind of original and new, and we're building it right now and testing it, and it's very exciting for me. But we know that information accuracy and making sure that information is kept up to date with the most recent updates is very, very important. And it's often a huge challenge for resource databases like this. We actually have a pretty cool solution to that works pretty well. We have this system that will watch websites. For example, if we have a provider, let's say a local, I don't know, fitness center signs up to be on our website and have their services and their activities listed. What they can do is they can link their website to their account. And we have a system that will watch their website. And whenever an activity expires on their website, let's say it's done, it's over with, it happened earlier today, we will automatically remove that website, that activity from Wise Connect. Or let's say they make adjustments to an activity on their activity calendar. We will automatically detect that change and automatically reflect it on Wise Connect. If they make changes to their business information, the same thing happens. If they make changes to their service information, the same thing happens. So as long as we are linked to their website, we will be able to automate the entire upkeep process of information to keep things the most recent they can be. Some other ways we're ensuring resource information maintenance is providers on our website receive a reminder email periodically. For services, it's once a month. For their organization profiles, it's like every half year to year. And for activities, it's a lot more frequent, saying, hey, has this changed? Have you made any adjustments to this information? And what we'll do is when they receive that email, there's going to be a button that they can click to go review the listing. And if they say, yep, nothing has changed, everything is all good, it'll be fine. But if they don't review the page and the information, that banner that I showed earlier that says this page has not been reviewed will appear. And that'll just let anyone on the front side of the website know, okay, this hasn't been reviewed in about a month. I should probably call to make sure everything is still accurate. The last way that we're making sure that information is up to date is we know oftentimes you all in the community are in the know. And you might frequent one of these organizations a lot and know when something has changed because you talk with them a lot or you visit them a lot, right? So if you ever see something wrong or outdated on one of our pages, there will be a button that says suggest a change. And when you click that, you'll be able to let us know, okay, this thing has changed, you might want to update it, and we will process that and go through the verification process to make sure, okay, yes, it has changed, and we will reflect the change on the website. So it's a layered system. But a lot of it just happens automatically, which is really cool, what technology can do nowadays. So that's something that I'm really excited for. And we're actually in the process of testing that out this week specifically, and it's going really well. So fun insights related
Yeah,
to
it's
that.
one of the things that when we were starting this, people were saying right away, how are you going to make sure that this is a active and live directory that isn't outdated every few months? And so it's something we've been thinking about from the very beginning. Just some new questions in the chat, one from Scott, noting that there are many programmatic changes expected in terms of federal budget cuts that affect county and local programs. How are we preparing for that? So to answer that in two parts. One is that we are making sure that we're not depending on that funding directly, so we're funded through other avenues, as well as understanding that if local programs like senior centers are getting reductions in their budget and they will be able to offer less, it's even more important that the side of our work that helps organizations, small businesses, local nonprofits start up new programs for older adults and share those, that becomes even more crucial when the other opportunities become fewer. And so that's why kind of in parallel to this work of maintaining the website, we are doing the on the ground work of coming to local businesses, coming to local nonprofits and saying, hey, are you running a program for older adults in the community? If you're not yet, we can help you with doing that. We can do the outreach for you. Here's why it would be a great addition to what you currently offer. Here's why during times of the day when there aren't many people coming in, it would be a perfect thing to do. And so we hope that every community will become more filled with hubs for older adults, for social connection, for intergenerational programs through that side of our work, and make it less dependent on that kind of funding. And then I'm seeing so many questions at once. Okay, I'm going to try to go through these and not skip any. So one, there was another clarifying question about funding. So just kind of concisely, we have some funding from our city partners in the places that we launch and focus our attention. And then we also have vetted businesses with valuable services that are able to sign up and get featured here too. We definitely should think about information for pets and other veterinary programs, definitely relevant. In terms of how we're monitoring changes in connected sites, there is an AI component to it that helps us make sure that the quality is high of that monitoring. And yeah, Kat can probably say more about that, working on it directly. And we're working right now with an NIH funded study to build in an AI component that will be, I would say, more important to the platform itself, which will help adjust the results to be relevant to each person. And again, that's an NIH thing where it'll be very carefully done to make sure that the data is secure and that the goal is to not overwhelm people with results that are not relevant to their circumstances. The next question is, do we have a board? Yes, I see Kat already starting to answer. We have a board of advisors, and they come from very different backgrounds. So we want to make sure we're getting input from everyone. But in addition to that formal board, we're always just seeking additional mentors and inputs. End of life planning section, yes, we do have that. And I see the comment about starting a pilot called Living Solo for those who are now living alone. Yes, and we've seen some of the villages start up groups like that. And Kat mentioned the event that we had in the community yesterday. Numerous people there were now solo agers and wanting to make sure that they're staying connected. And I think that is one of the key user groups on our website is people who are solo agers and wanting to make sure that they're staying connected. Continuing to look at the questions. Directory and information and referral is done in part by well-funded government programs like the Maryland Access Point and the AAAs. How do we cooperate or overlap with their programs? That's a great question, and we have spoken to them directly multiple times. So earlier this year, I was on the Longevity Ready Maryland statewide work group that was thinking about how do we put together a plan to support older Marylanders for the next 10 years. And so I had a chance to connect with a lot of the state level organizations that are already thinking about this and already doing information referral. How we see the distinction is that ours is much more community focused in the sense that we want it to show events, activities, services happening in your local community and change every day depending on what's available every day and how you can stay active. We want it to be much more of a way for people to stay connected with one another, and to make it easier for smaller organizations like villages to gain real benefit out of this. Whereas we see the current solutions a little more just like resource directories. They do have the value of being statewide, but we're trying to focus hyper local as much as we can.
And then going off of the existing, what Marie said about the existing federal government programs, we have designed our website so that it can integrate with them. And that's one of the things that we offer when we do government partnerships is if you already have a resource database, we can integrate our system with yours and do resource database sharing. Because our Wise Connect does some things a little bit better than some of the other ones. For example, when it comes to accessibility or being designed for this particular audience, it's a little bit more focused and specialized. And we do offer features like Request a Ride, or we will be offering features like Request a Ride, and additional accessibility supports that the other ones don't offer. So our goal is just to make sure that people are able to find the information that they need as easily as possible and actually access services. And so we are very much happy to interplay on what already exists and to make sure that people, regardless of where they're coming from or where they're going, can easily find what they're looking for. So that's one thing to add to what Marie had said.
Yeah, I think something else that I'll say is just in our vision for this a little bit longer term, we really want it to be a way for individuals to be able to contribute in the sense that if someone wants to say, I really want to start a walking group or I really want to start a book club in my community, then that can be information that someone can provide and that can be used to then in aggregate inform some of the local organizations. Hey, a bunch of people are saying they would really appreciate having a walking group or a book club or whatever. And so maybe a local village picks that up or a local community center gets that as feedback to understand that that would be a valuable program to have. And so we hope that there's much more kind of direct connection between the members of the community and the provider organizations than there is in a very large statewide system. And yes, I'm seeing the question that Kat is addressing in the chat about the privacy policy. We're very clear about not selling data to anyone else who's a third party. It's very securely held in the WISE system, and that again has been very much a priority since day one.
And to go a step further on that, we don't even use third-party services that will sell data. We stay away from those. So all of the services that we use to make this possible, all of our tools and our technology are ones that we have full control over and that we can fully manage where data is going through. Because that was hugely requested very early on when we were putting this together, was not allowing third parties to access data and usage and all that other stuff. We're here to provide you privacy as you look for what you need. Awesome. I think we've made it to the bottom of most of the questions. I am going to put in our emails once again, just because I know they've gotten lost at the top by this point. If you have any further questions, feel free to send us an email. We are very approachable. We like talking to people. We like grabbing coffee with people. If you ever have any ideas or suggestions about how we can make this better, feel free to reach out and we will gladly talk to you. Again, it's a community effort. The only way we're going to do this right is by involving everyone who has a role in this process. And we are always looking to hear new wonderful ideas, and we're always looking for people to test out our new features. So if you like getting your hands dirty and playing around with technology, let us know and we will show you some early things for you to test out to help us make them as good as they can be when they go live. Awesome. I don't know if there are any other questions.
I just want to say thank you to everyone for listening and for asking such good questions and for the work that you're doing in your local communities. So thank you so much. We really hope to have a chance to talk to each of you again. And feel free to email us if more comes to mind.
Okay, we should stop. It's Jim Sanders again from the WAVE board. Thank you to our presenters. Thank you for the work you're doing with WISE. Again, everyone who has registered will receive copies of the slides and the recording. And I know that WAVE has an ongoing interest in supporting the growth of programs like WISE. So stay tuned. There will be materials on our website as well. One last reminder, WAVE does have an upcoming program August 18th called Starting and Improving Your Village Newsletter. Part of that session will be skill building on using the Canva platform. So we're continuing with the skill focus as well as the developments in the community. So that's the end of this session. Thank you again for everyone for participating, and please stay in touch for the materials that you'll get in the next week or so.
Thank you
Okay.
so much.
Thanks, everybody.
See you.